This is 5.3, writing equations in point-slope form. This is another type of equation that describes a line, just like slope-intercept form describes all of the points on a possible line. Point-slope form is another way to do that. This is the formula for point-slope form, probably the most important piece here. Now notice the same variable m is there. That means that slope is given. Notice the name is point slope form, and the other information they give you is a point. Slope intercept form, you can identify slope and y-intercept. Point slope form, you can identify a point and the slope. So point slope form, the variable y minus the y-coordinate equals the slope times x minus the x coordinate of that ordered point. So let's take a look at what that is. Okay, if they tell you that the equation in point slope form on the line that passes through the point 3, 2, that 3, 2 gives us an x coordinate and a y coordinate, and it has a slope of 2. There's our m. When you go to plug in the values, the x and the y stay exactly where they are, just like we have an x and y in slope-intercept form. The x and y stay in this. But we take y minus the y coordinate, which is 2. That equals the slope of 2 times x minus the x coordinate, 3. This is your equation in point slope form. Without the spots, it looks like this. If you see y minus a value equals something, and in parentheses x minus a value, that is it called point slope form. If you can identify all the pieces in this, you have slope here with the 2, the y coordinate of a point, and the x coordinate of the point. There is your answer. There's nothing else to do with it really. Now, you can graph from this as well, because if you remember y minus the y coordinate equals slope times x minus the x coordinate, that means I can graph all of this. I have the information. The slope of this line is 1/2, and the ordered pair, the x coordinate is 2, and the y coordinate is 2. I got all of that from the spots in my equation. First thing I do is plot that point 2, 2 on the graph. You have to start at a point. You can't start with slope. So that is my starting point. Now, I can find a second point on the line using that slope. From the point that I know is on my graph, I can go up 1 over 2. And I have my next ordered pair and the next one so that I can draw my line of my graph. Let's try that again. Writing an equation in point slope form, when they give you the point, there's my x coordinate and my y coordinate, and they give you the slope. I would write this as y minus 5 equals 4 times x minus, but since it's minus -3, we wouldn't actually leave it as minus -3. We would change that minus negative problem into +3. The tricky part about this formula is that it does work with subtraction. So if you do see addition, like in the next checkpoint, that actually means it should have been minus, and that means we're talking about -1 there. So whenever you see that plus, know that we actually meant a negative value in our ordered pair. So here, my ordered pair, my x coordinate is 1, my y coordinate, we just looked at that is -1, and my slope is 2. I start with my point, 1, -1, have to have the point on the graph, and now I can do my slope, up 2 and over 1. And then I have my points to draw my line, and you guys are going to use a straight edge and go through the graph and draw arrows. Now the other option is that they don't actually give you the slope, but they give you 2 points. Now looking at those ordered pairs, we can find the slope between those. You can calculate it or you can count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The slope here would be 5, 6. If you do not have a picture, you can calculate the slope. Now, to do point slope form, I only need 1 point. You can choose to use the -2, -3 ordered pair, and if you did, your equation would look like y plus 3, because it's minus -3, equals my slope of 5, 6 times x plus 2. Or, big or, because I will take either answer here. If you use the ordered pair for 2, you would have the equation y minus 2. My slope again is 5, 6 times x minus 4. These actually are the exact same equation. Let me prove that to you by putting them in the same form. If I take these equations and put them in slope-intercept form, I can actually prove that they are the exact same equation. I'm going to do that on the next slide so I have more room to work. This is part of your notes as well. But I would start by doing the distributing. Y plus 3 equals 5, 6, x, and I've got to take 5, 6 times 2, and that would give me 10, 6, which is 5/3. To get y by itself, I'd have to subtract 3 on both sides, and that gives me y equals 5, 6, x. And if I take 5/3 minus 3 as a whole number, I actually need to make a common denominator, so I can subtract 9/3 and have this be the same. So 3 minusing 3 is the same thing as minusing 9/3. I'd get this minus 4/3. Now you will not need to do this on your homework. You will not need to do this on your homework. I'm just showing you that you actually have the exact same answer for both of these. So same thing here, let's distribute that 5, 6. But now I need to take 5, 6 times 4, and I get 26, which is 10/3. I have to add 2, but if I need to add 2 as a third, that's actually 6/3. So y equals 5, 6x, and -10/3 plus 6/3, because that equals 2, would again give me that -4/3. They are the exact same equation. So it doesn't matter which ordered pair you choose to use. In story problems, figure out, did you get a point and slope, or did you get 2 points? But we're going to work in point slope form. Now, during the period 1980 to 2010, the cost of a gallon of milk increased 5 cents per year. I see that 5 cents per year, and I know this is my slope. In 1995, the cost of a gallon of milk was $2. That looks like a point to me. So I know my slope and I know a point, but I need to figure out my input and my output, because that's going to determine my ordered pair. Now my slope was dollars per year. So dollars per year. And if slope is the change in y over the change in x, that means x is my years and y is my dollars. Now, I am not going to use 1995 as my x-coordinate in my ordered pair. Because 1995 doesn't represent this story. The situation started in 1980. If 1980 is the starting year, that's year 0. 1995 would be 15 years after that. So after 15 years, the cost was $2. That will be the ordered pair that I use. So my slope is 0.05. My point is 15.2. So the equation I would write in point slope form would be y minus 2 equals my slope of 0.05 times x minus 15. What's nice about writing equations in point slope form, do you notice that I didn't have to take any time to solve for b? I can just pick the information from my equation and write my answer. So here's my equation again in point slope form. If they asked me to find the cost of a gallon of milk in 2000, well, the situation started in 1980, and 2000 would be 20 years after that. That's an x value. What do? We plug it in. Y minus 2 equals 0.05 times 20 minus 15. And then we solve for y. This would give me 25 cents, and y would equal $2.25. And that answer makes sense because 5 years earlier it was $2. And if it increases 5 cents every year, 5 years later it'd be 25 cents more. In this story, did we get slope and a point, or did we get 2 points? And looking at a table, I'm thinking we got 2 points. So we need to figure out the slope first, and you can use whichever 2 points you want to do that. So 32 minus 22 over 4 minus 2. That is $10 in 2 hours. So your slope is $5 per hour. Now, my y-intercept, or actually you don't need to find your y-intercept, do you? Because we're in point slope form, Miss Curran. So you just need 1 point. Let's go with 222. So my equation would be y minus 22 equals 5 times x minus 2. There's your equation in point slope form. And here is your homework for 5.2, but you actually do not need to do number 37. You're welcome.